Hey gang, Rodin here. Welcome on back to the Retrocade and another edition of Sports Saturday. And for this week, with the NFL preseason in full swing, we might as well pop in another football game, except instead of going all the way back to the 1980s like we did in our last game playing NES Play Action Football, we're going to go to 2003 and we're going to play what is arguably one of the best games of the sixth generation that showed what another franchise could do in competition with almighty EA and Madden Football. And we're also going to show what ESPN was capable of back 20 years ago before they started to fall off the cliff where they are now. And I'll let Chris Berman take it from here.
And welcome to ESPN's NFL Football. Trust me, a lot of work has gone into and a lot of pleasure has gone into combining the best that ESPN and the NFL have to offer. So, without further delay, let's go straight to the game.
So this game was originally supposed to be titled NFL 2K4. Sega helped develop it along with Visual Concepts. It came out for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox in September of 2003. It came out in Europe in November 2003. And it is still considered by many to be one of the best all-around sports games of the last 25 years, certainly among the top games of the sixth generation. So what we're going to do over the course of the next half an hour or so is we're just going to play a quick game of 5-minute quarters. And let me pick out my team here. Let me grab my hometown New England Patriots. And we'll keep it in division, and we will play the New York Jets. If you are unfamiliar with the team structure in NFL football, there are two different conferences, the AFC, the American Football Conference, and the NFC, the National Football Conference. And there are 16 teams in both conferences separated by four team divisions. So we'll go ahead and, oh my God, that is a cherubic Tom Brady. But then again, this was 2 years into his career, and Chad Pennington is still listed as the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. And that's not to say that Chad Pennington was a bad quarterback. Unfortunately, he suffered from injuries to his throwing shoulder early in his career, and it ended up causing him to retire prematurely. Now, I remember back 20 years ago when I was still really involved in playing a lot of sports games on my PS2. Again, I was never an Xbox guy, which is why I don't feature Xbox titles on this channel. Although, again, that may be something I will do at some point down the road. You never know. But the question was, if you were going to stick with your loyalties as a Madden kid, which I had grown up to be, because my siblings play Madden, or were you going to accept that there were new players on the development block that were creating games that were just as good, if not better, than what EA was doing at the time with Madden? And really, 2K4 or 2K Sports and Sega had come up with some titles that were really, really strong. And this obviously was one of them, as it still has the ability to get as high rankings more than 2 decades later by most gamers. Now, if you know football, it's not complicated. It's no more harder to play that I'm aware of than when we played NES Play Action Football a couple of weeks ago. So you get to choose your plays, and then it looks like we get to choose a secondary play here. You use your circle button to pick the player you want to have. So I'm on defense, so I want to be able to have somebody who can get to the quarterback or to the running backs. And Curtis, my favorite, Martin, busts up the gut for a couple of yards. And Martin had actually started his career as a New England Patriot. He ended up going to the Jets after they let him go as a free agent, in part of a way to spite the ownership of the team at the time.
Second and 6. Ball at the Jets, 31-yard line.
Now, one thing I already like in this game, and it's something that I have talked about quite a lot, and there's no reason to stop now, is I already like the presentation aspect of it. How we get the closest thing you can find to a real-life NFL broadcast, which is ultimately the point of most games like this. Oh, he made the catch.
They get the first on 3rd and long.
But I do like the way that we get these replays. They're not overly ridiculous. The mechanics for right now, obviously, seem a lot better. Whoop. I don't know why I got that up.
And they easily convert on 3rd down.
Yeah, that was a good call. First and 10. Ball at the Jets.
If there is one thing I have noticed in most sports games over the last 5 to 10 years, it is that the actual in-game mechanics for controlling players has gotten demonstrably worse, especially in football games. One of the things that I've done in the last couple of weeks is I started playing on my PS3. I went back and started playing college football because the last college football game period that was released was way back in 2014 by EA as part of the lawsuit by student athletes at the time who had since graduated against the NCAA for not being compensated for their name, image, and likeness. Now, obviously, with how things are in the world at the moment, that's an entirely different animal, and we're seeing the impact of that all across collegiate athletics as now the major conferences in college football especially. And I think that's caught for a first down. Are completely reshaping themselves. You know, the Pac-12, or what was formerly known as the Pac-12, is now a shadow of itself. Now it's down, I think, the Pac-4. And I spent a lot of time living in the Pacific Northwest. I remember at its peak how big the Pac-10 at the time, then the Pac-12, now the Pac-4 actually was. And now, who knows if it's even going to survive.
Not much there. It'll be 2nd down.
Got to take what you can get, Dan, but they were, hoping for more.
2nd and 9. Ball at the 45.
So you can run an audible if you hit the triangle button. And Martin broke one tackle and is close to a first down, but it would be 3rd and 4.
Third down with a split backfield.
And even for being a 20-year-old game, the graphic fidelity of this is not bad.
No good.
As that was tipped.
4th down.
It'll be 4th down, and they will have to punt it.
Straczynski lines up for the punt.
In punt formation.
Honestly, this isn't too much worse.
Straczynski gets the ball and kicks what will be a short one.
I'll let that one run out of bounds.
Let it bounce out of bounds.
But yeah, this isn't any worse than what I've seen, again, playing on my PS3. I wouldn't put it up there with my PS5. Now let's see what we can do with Tom Terrific under center
Have a way to go.
and Antoine Smith in the backfield.
13-yard line. Smith dodges this one way out.
Picks up a yard.
Maybe picks up one on the play.
With the tackle.
So you can flip the play using the R2 button.
Ball at the Patriots, 15-yard line.
Brady throws a heat.
And it is caught by Troy Brown and his band of renown.
He's stopped right there. It will be 1st down.
Every quarterback
So
has
Brady's in his
a place
4th
to
year
go.
in this game,
Man out of Michigan.
which means, if I remember right, he had already won 2 Super Bowls because he won in 01 and then again in 03. And it's funny, I still have a lot of people who give me grief about having grown up in the Northeast, being a New England fan,
In motion. Prairie gets the
and being called, like, you know, a
picks up one on the play.
bandwagoneer, a fair weather fan, and I have to remind these people that I was a fan of the New England Patriots back in the early 80s when they were terrible. They were a proverbial laughing stock. Nobody liked the Patriots outside of Boston. Even then, most Patriots fans in Boston wouldn't have admitted that they were fans.
Carrier early and didn't even let him get back to the line of scrimmage.
That's his
I
third
was
tackle
8
of the
years old
game.
when they went to the Super Bowl in 1985/86, and I watched them get absolutely shellacked by the 85 Bears, and rightly so, because the Bears were
First quarter and
arguably one of the top 3 defenses of all time. Back then, they had a guy named Steve Grogan who was the quarterback.
third down with the
You could have put Tom Brady against the 85 Bears, and I don't think he would have had much better success. And I don't say that lightly.
Hauls it in right side.
Oh, and he's loose.
Room 35.
Down the sideline, and is he going to get in? Yes, he is. Touchdown.
He's in for the touchdown.
David Patton puts New England on the board 6-0 with the extra point coming up.
The coverage and into his receivers.
Got a great block, too. I think that was Fourier with
Down and he
spraying him
runs it in
loose.
style.
Beautiful play.
So I'll kick the point after.
Now the extra point.
And we send it through, and we have 4:47 to go in the first half. It's 7-0. 5 plays, 87 yards in 2 minutes. See, when you get stuff like that, if you don't have to be a football junkie and you don't have to be a super big sports fan to know all of that information, but if you do have general knowledge of it like I do,
There's the
that's
signal,
cool
and
stuff
we're
because
ready.
it takes me back to when I was still doing my media
Terry
career.
kicks this one away.
And one of the things that I enjoyed doing when I was still broadcasting was I would go out and call high school football games, which NFL it's not. But those are the sorts of things, if you're a broadcaster, you've got to really be cognizant of, and you've got to keep an eye on, and there's information you need to convey to the listener or the viewer or whoever. Now, I was doing high school football over the radio, and I was doing it over the internet.
Martin punches this one left
But
to center,
the
and
principle is still the
picks
same.
up one on the play.
Curtis Martin traveled in his
But
blockers way
if you
back
don't
there.
have that sort of
Defense
background,
didn't give
then
up much.
it's
Not much there.
you're not
It'll be
really
second
being
down.
deprived of
Get there,
anything
but they were, hoping for more.
by having a little bit of extra info that's relevant to the game thrown in. It's a little extra color, and that color, oh, his Pennington gets lit up.
At the 30.
Leonard Hamilton came off that edge with an attitude.
Bobby Hamilton got through his
Where's Bobby Hamilton? Excuse me.
back down back there. Good, clean sack.
They read that play the whole way, and they force a third and very, very long.
Yeah, monstrous D the past few downs for these guys.
So now they're going with an empty backfield, 4 receivers. We're not in a good defensive scheme for this.
Pennington really
But
raked
tipped
it.
and almost picked off. Ty Law,
Incomplete.
Hall of Famer,
Bring up fourth down.
knocked that one away.
Came in and got a hand on that football and left no chance for a reception there.
Peter, the defense stood tall and forced the incompletion, but I don't understand that call. They wouldn't have gotten much at all, even if it
And I
was.
think he muffs this punt.
Way, and in my
Or no, he got it away.
Straczynski gets the snap and punts it away. Breaks free. Stopped at the
And
20.
Brown only got a couple of yards on the return because I ran him right into the
The
defense.
special team squad made sure he couldn't respond to that really nice punt.
The Patriots had an effective first drive.
So let's see what we can do if we can score on this second drive.
Their own 29-yard line.
And he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage as I almost didn't get him the ball. Let's see here.
Second and 9. Ball at
It's easy to want to sit there and run like... As that one got tipped.
Makes a play on this and forces
I thought Brady got sacked on that. I honestly did. I was like, uh-oh. Now we're in trouble.
third down, one
third
man
and 9.
back.
Ball at the Patriots 30-yard line.
All right. Let's see if we can pull something here.
Brady unloads this one to the
Gets it
left.
to Deion Branch. First down midfield.
And he stopped right there. That will obviously bring up the first down.
Now, the mechanics in this aren't any different, really, than playing Madden. It was by the time you got to 2000 and you started being able to get things in the 32-bit generation.
It's all about making the big plays when you need to, and you can't coach that.
The mechanics and the move sets essentially became fairly consistent depending on the developer. There were some slight tweaks to it, I should say, if I can get that out. As I throw it underneath in triple coverage, and I still got to complete the branch.
First down.
And then if you know the general mechanics of how to play football,
As 3 defenders looking to pick
then you
off
can
that
transition
defender,
from
but he
one
won't
type
have
of
it.
game to the other.
He makes the catch. That's one heck of a play.
All right, see if I can actually run it again.
Smith takes his 4th carry of the game and heads out.
Still
right.
trying to get upfield, and I think we barely got back to the line of scrimmage again. So
Marvin Jones.
the Jets are really good against the run, but they're not doing well against the pass. Let's see.
Second
Let's
down,
try this
3
one.
receivers to the left.
So if you hit R1, that allows you to see your receivers. Oh, and just off of Brown's hands, incomplete. It'll be third down.
It's incomplete.
Was the
Troy
intended
Brown
receiver.
stopped the ball so fast there, you'd think it bit him on the thumb or something.
That's his first drop, and it is not often you see that from him.
No, normally he's pretty sure-handed there.
Let's see. Yeah, we'll try and go to the tight ends this time.
And 10. Ball at the 32-yard line.
New England was always go with a 2 tight end set.
Brady throws this one
Tipped, he
right
got it to
side.
Fourier, and that's a first down. That's exactly what I wanted. It was almost picked, though.
That will bring up.
Tom Brady.
Okay. I got to be able to get the run game going, though.
First down, just a single receiver.
Brady's already 5 of 7 for 138 yards and a touchdown. That's classic Tom.
Smith will take this one off.
Well, tried to spin,
Gets past the line.
but still finally picked up positive yardage.
Continue to run.
Check this out. 7th-year man out of Houston, and he's got some nice moves, too. He's the game's focal point most of the time, and if he gets on a roll here, ooh, watch out.
Second and 4. Ball at the 14-yard line.
Smith gets the toss and runs into traffic.
And we didn't get anywhere on that one.
Backfield, and the clock will continue to run.
Marvin Jones was a one-man wrecking crew back there. He powered into the backfield and made the tackle.
That will be his 4th tackle of the
3rd
contest.
and 5. Ball at the 15.
Oh, and Brady got sacked.
That takes them even farther away from the markers. 4th down.
All right, we'll have Vinatieri come on for the field goal.
And the field goal unit is
Except
on
I will
the
let the
field.
clock matriculate down to the last few seconds. That way I can just go ahead and send it to the locker room. And we should have a 10-0 lead. This is the only thing I don't like about these games, is that the clock tends to run this much slower. And get the kick away, and it is good.
9 yards out, and it's good.
So 11 plays, 50 yards, in 3 minutes, 46 seconds. We go to the locker room, and we're up 10-0. So it's a 2-score game.
Between the goalposts for a field goal.
And that'll do it for the first half of this
And we
one.
will flash through the halftime festivities as best we can.
Now let's send you to Chris Berman. Thanks, Chris, and
Don't need to hear from Boomer.
Foxborough. The Patriots get the ball first this half, and another score by them could really open up this game.
And now we will get this
They currently lead 10
second
to
half
nothing.
underway, as we're
Let's
already
get
past
that
20
on the
minutes
field
in
and
this
the action.
playthrough.
Straczynski kicks it, and the second half has now started. Branch fields the second half kickoff at the 10.
Oh, got a good block. Get out to the sideline, get to the 40-yard line. That's not a bad return. So, in thinking about this game, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to play it is because
And the defense doesn't seem to be
my
ready for him.
interest in trying to find games that were competing with the stalwarts of the era, in this case being EA, as it always has been when it comes to football games,
The Patriots come out on
is
top.
one of the reasons why I have yet to play a version of Madden on this channel. It's not that I don't want to, it's that it's more interesting for me in trying to find games
Takes it across the line of scrimmage and takes
that
it upfield.
are complementary and were also in friendly competition with EA and other big name titles and developers of those eras, and see what made them good or bad.
2nd and 5.
And it seemed like with this game especially that both Sega and EA, or Sega and ESPN I should say, were on the verge of coming up with something really, really good and could have lasted a really long time.
Donnie Abraham was a one-man wrecking crew back there.
Unfortunately,
He powered into the
Sega,
backfield and
with their
made the
financial
tackle.
woes,
They don't
were
let the
not
play
in a
back to the line
position
of scrimmage, and that
that
will bring up
long
third
term
down.
they could really compete with what EA was putting out.
Third down with 2 tight ends.
And also with how merciless EA had become in making sure they were the top dog in the sports genre.
Unloads this to the right sideline, and it's clear.
Fourier turns upfield, we get the first down.
At the 49. First down.
From a business perspective, I remember how they simply could not compete.
A big play on third down.
Even though
His run after
this was such a well-received game.
Yeah, Dan, you have to fight for those yards in that situation, and that's exactly what he did.
Oh, and I threw that way out in front of Branch. He needed more time to get there.
incomplete.
Was the
Deion
intended
Branch
receiver.
tried to snag that one across the middle, but it doesn't happen.
Potential for a quick first down, but no, they cannot hook up the pass.
You can take a shot in that situation, and it's really not going to hurt you. That's a good call.
That'll bring up second down.
Ran right into the pile, and down I go.
And that brings up third down.
John Abraham was a one-man wrecking crew back there.
So let's
He
see.
powered into the backfield
I gotta
and
come up
made
with
the
something
tackle.
good.
Nice job eliminating any forward progress on that play. That will bring up a third and long. Third down, tight end to the left.
Ball at the Patriots 49-yard line.
There we go. Floated out there for Patton, and he's still running free.
Chase down at the 19. That will obviously bring up the first down.
I'll take that one and be happy about it.
Yards after making the catch. Well, I like to see that in a player. That
So he's already over 100 yards. He's got 110.
What a play.
Had that 77-yard reception for the touchdown.
They weren't thinking first down as much as they were thinking touchdown on that bait. Look, Dan, great receiving yards there. That will help your fantasy team.
Brady throws it to the left sideline.
And he gets it into Daniel Graham for the touchdown.
For the touchdown.
That makes it 16-0. We'll take a look at this one because I thought this was going to get picked off.
There's the catch.
How I floated that one over the defenders, I have no idea, but I'm not going to argue.
But that didn't seem like that was bad at all. Maybe mildly annoying, but definitely not bad.
That touchdown is going to establish some distance between them, Peter.
That's a big score.
Now the point after, and it's good.
If I do have one complaint about this, I think it is the broadcasting team. They are a little overzealous in their delivery.
The ref gets the signal, and we're set.
This would be a short kick.
Vinatieri kicks it off. Johnson fields the kickoff at the 11. Spins
And you would think,
down at the 30.
having the official license of ESPN, they would have been able to get some of their actual NFL broadcasting crew they had at the time to provide the play-by-play commentary, but also knowing how expensive that potentially is, since they got Chris Berman to be, for lack of a better term, the face of this game. Almost picked off again.
On the coverage, incomplete.
Otis Smith managed to disrupt things. He got in there
It
and
makes
smacked
sense
that
that
pass. Great D.
Sega would have likely picked their battles on it
Defense was on top of it and shut it down.
Good denial
and not
there.
have much more money to put in one of their regular mainline NFL teams behind the mic,
Pennington fires this one over the
which is a shame.
knocked away from the receiver, incomplete. Third down.
But if they tried to do this nowadays, one, ESPN wouldn't be going for it because they are essentially in free fall
Goes in motion.
from being the king of the mountain for so long in terms of sports programming. And I can say that as somebody who, at a couple of different points in my career,
The line chases him down and gets the sack.
tried to get in and go to work in Bristol, Connecticut at ESPN, and unfortunately it never panned out.
The Patriots need only 3 linemen here to get to the
Not to say I'm not bitter about it, I'm damn bitter about it. It was the place I wanted to work at
A fourth line
since I first realized it was the sort of career I wanted.
issues for the defense's scrap point.
They stand tall and force a loss of yardage there. That's going to bring up a difficult fourth.
He's gonna
and
boom
long.
this kick.
Straczynski gets ready to punt this away. Straczynski takes the long snap and punts it away.
And I'll have Troy call for the fair catch.
At the 34.
Troy Brown decided not
But
to
it's also
become
hard for me to not be
kicking
more than a little
spot
bit
sandwich.
sad about what's
Why is
happening to
it so
ESPN.
fair
But
catch?
that's a matter of economics and a lot of things. People are always looking for simple answers to complex equations.
Smith
And there
picks it
is
off the
no
top,
simple
runs
answer
into
here.
traffic, crosses the field, tackled
It's a
at
matter
the
of
39.
times have changed and what they were able to do 20, 30 years ago, they can't really do anymore. And ultimately, the people who suffer the most out of that are the rank and file employees who are the ones who will find themselves out of work, looking for new work.
Patriots, 39-yard line.
And one of the reasons why I got out of doing media was because, oh, I picked through the wrong,
It's intercepted.
went to throw it underneath to the fullback, and it got picked off. But as I was saying, one of the reasons why I got out of working in media, sports media, news media, and otherwise,
Instincts back there to get the
is
interception.
because of how cutthroat and cannibalistic the industry became and currently is on multiple fronts. I mean, it's not pretty.
The Jets stalled early last drive, and we'll have to wait and see what happens here. They'll start at the
So let's see if we can stop Pennington and the Jets from getting on the board here with about a minute to go in the third quarter. That ball's tipped and incomplete.
Roosevelt Colvin did a brilliant job keeping watch over his zone. That pass didn't have a chance.
Let's see.
2nd and 10.
It's always a guessing game when you're trying to choose the plays, because you've got to pay attention to what you think the offense is going to be running, and then you've got to set up a defense that coincides with that, so you get results like this where they don't go anywhere. So I'll make it 3rd and 8. That's what I thought. They're going with 5 receivers, so I want to run a dime. So I have more defensive backs on the field than anybody else, and they can hopefully cover all the receivers. And instead, it was thrown and caught. Oh, that's annoying. He had all day to throw this. I couldn't get any of my defenders over there to sack him. I thought I had it lined up for the pick. Instead, I went right over my defensive back's head.
Their first try deep this game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so the question is, where was their long game in the first half?
1st and 10.
And now they're knocking on the door of my end zone. Got hit by Mike Vrabel, who's now the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, to give you an idea of how old this game is.
Couldn't make that play work.
Not much there. It'll be 2nd down.
Got to take what you can get, Dan, but they were, hoping for more.
And that should end the 3rd quarter. So now we'll go to the 4th. We're still comfortably ahead, 17-0. Now let's see if we can stop them here. Tipped and almost picked off. I should have had that.
Third down. 9 yards to go.
Bunch of receivers out there.
Okay, see what we can do here if we can stop them. Throws it out of the end zone, incomplete. Now the question is, will they go for it or will they kick the field goal?
Peter, in 3rd down situations, they have not been successful.
They're going to go for the field goal.
This play was more proof.
Boy, 3rd is such a crucial down, Dan. And when you don't convert, it really hurts.
4th down, and the field goal unit is on the field.
And they got it through, so the Jets are on the board, 17-3, as we are underway in the 4th quarter. 7 plays, 29 yards, and a $123. They are going to try and do the onside kick. But he kicked it too short, which means that will be going to us.
Onside kick did not travel 10 yards. Number 6, kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Re-kick.
There we go. Now we can set up for the onside kick. So in the rules, the onside kick has to travel at least 10 yards before the kicking team can touch it. After that, it's a live ball. If it goes shorter than 10 yards and you grab it, that's where that penalty comes from. So now it's 1st and 10 on the Jets 27. If we score here, we can pretty much ice it. And he gets the 1st down. So I think we're finally figuring out the run game as we're trying to run down the clock and put this one away. Let's see if we can try this again, but go to the other way.
Smith gets the call again and heads upfield.
And he's down inside the 5 near the goal line. So back-to-back runs of 10-plus yards have us knocking on the door. Let's see, I want to be... Oh, we don't have like a goal line set.
First down, goal to go. Smith has his number called on first
Oh, and I got right to the goal line and could not get in. Let's see. Oh, we'll do it this way.
Second and goal. Ball at the 1.
Go to the fullback and have him just muscle it on in. So a fullback, if you don't know, back in the day when running backs were still considered a commodity in pro football, not only did you have the halfback, who is what my guy Smith is, also known as the tailback, but then you have a guy in front of him who is designed predominantly to block for that running back and pick up another defender. Or you could use them in short yardage situations. They weren't as fast and they were a bigger body, so they could get through a line like that, and they were called the fullback. But they're used even less in football nowadays than running backs are, because everything in the NFL is about the pass.
Johnson catches it back at the 10.
And as we've seen with how even marquee running backs in the league now, this season basically got told, not only are you not getting paid, but we're not going to do anything to give you any incentive to really want to play, because we're going to replace you with somebody who's 3 or 4 years younger and has got fresher tread on their tires. Oh, and that was caught, but Law knocked him out of bounds and he dropped it. That was close. If I was playing Madden and I had that play run on me, that receiver would have caught it. And I would have been 8 shades of ticked off, as my grandfather used to like to say. That you can have defense in a game like this where the defensive backs or whomever you're not controlling actually has some agency and the ability to do what you want them to do is really nice. And it's a shame that that's something that we appear to have lost in newer versions of these games.
He seems to be in a bit of a funk recently. I mean, that's his 4th ball thrown his way, and he can't reel them in.
Yeah, funky Dan, he's just
So we can do on 3rd and 10 here.
Third down with the tight end right. Pennington.
Oh, he got it caught.
And the catch is made well past the markers for a first down.
Tipped and incomplete. They hung Corbett out to dry in traffic, and he got lit up.
Second and 10. Ball at the Jets, 41-yard line.
See if we can hold them here. He tried the screen pass, and Law was having none of it. Ty Law is a Hall of Famer, by the way, so it's not a question of him just getting lucky. He was one of the best defensive backs of that era, of the early 2000s. Got a man in motion again. Oh man, he keeps throwing right in the middle of that zone. And there's nothing we can do to really pull it in. But they keep going back, trying to take on Law, and Law is just shutting them down.
Harris completely breaks up the pass. You know, he owned that zone so clearly. Yeah, I bet he comes in on his days off to repair the turf.
That had potential for some yards, Peter, but the defense was on top of it and shut it down.
Good denial there.
Second down coming up. Moss goes in motion.
Man, they're going to take their time running this play. Tipped and almost picked off again. I think that's Rodney Harrison. That is Rodney Harrison, 37. Widely considered one of the dirtiest players of all time. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. You be the judge. Our lines are open. But now we've got them down to 3rd and 10 again. And if they go back to that same play and try and run into the same pocket, nope, they went the other way this time and still made the first down. And it's picked off, Roman Pfeiffer. And he could go all the way for the touchdown. So a pick 6 to icing with about 2 minutes to go. Just sat right underneath, picked that one off cleanly, and it was goodbye, Roman Pfeiffer. So we'll get this extra point up and through really quick, and then hopefully get through these last 2 minutes and 9 seconds, as this one's running a bit longer than I originally planned. But it's 31-3, so we're definitely adding another win to the column.
Johnson fields it at the 12. Stopped at the 30. It looks like we have an injury down on the field, and we'll
as Bethel Johnson is down.
And as soon as we hear anything, we'll pass it along to you.
But for our 35th episode in this series, and now we're at 185 videos overall on this channel, which is something I got to admit I'm fairly proud of. Especially considering there was a gap of almost 18 months to 2 years.
We'll see what they call on this drive as they start at their own 30-yard line. Corbett goes in motion.
Tipped and almost picked off again.
Incomplete.
Wayne Corbett dropped the ball so fast there, you'd think it bit him on the thumb or something.
That's his second drop, and he cannot be happy with that. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, and sometimes it
doesn't.
Exactly.
Man, he was wide open. How did he drop that? My goodness.
Another incompletion, and they still can't get it done through the air. And now that we're
that qualifies as not hitting the broadside of a barn. There was no reason why he shouldn't have caught that ball. I'm glad he didn't. I would have said a couple things that would have likely earned me an explicit tag on this video. And we can't be having that. Oh, they're going for it. But he doesn't get there.
They will forfeit the ball on downs.
That's what I get for not paying attention. I thought they were going to punt it. Instead, they tried to go for it. So, all right. Now I just want to run the clock down. Hopefully, they won't call timeouts because we've got 1:51 to go. They can't win.
Smith takes the handoff and searches for a hole. Breaks free. The Jets.
And they are going to call a timeout. All right. Well, you can do that, but it's not going to stop me from
Second down.
Want to run these any quicker.
Ball at the 29.
Fortunately, they've only got 2 timeouts left.
Smith will get the carry on second down. The Jets
I'll call their second timeout.
their second. First down, the clock is stopped at 1:39. Smith takes his 16th carry of the game and heads
He's run it 16 times already.
Take a timeout.
And that's his final timeout. So, now all I got to do is run the clock down and we can get out of here.
Second down with a split backfield.
But I got to get it started first.
Smith goes right up the middle and heads up the
Picks up a couple more. He's got to be close to 100 yards at this point.
Daniel Graham got in there and made the key block on that last play.
Nice second down call, and they will move the chain.
On offense, it was always a plus to avoid third down altogether, just like that.
17 carries, 60 yards,
That's how to
no
get it done
touchdowns.
on the ground.
See if I can get him in before this game is over. And I will, as he sheds a tackler and gets in for one more. Well, I wasn't planning that, but I'll take it. So let's fire this field goal through.
Now the extra
And
point,
it is
and
38-3. Now, I'm playing this on standard difficulty, by the way, so I didn't set it up to do anything crazy with it.
There's the signal, and we're ready. Vinatieri doesn't get a lot of
Although I
legs behind
suspect
this
if I put it on easier, I'd be winning by probably double this by now.
tackled at the 33.
Number 84 could have really done some damage off that less than stellar kick, but his run back is only so-so.
All right, so I know they're going to go downfield, so at this point, I can just run what's called a prevent defense, which is designed to basically take away the back end of the field. Although Quebec caught it. Fumble! And Rodney Harrison picks it up.
Antoine Harris delivers a punishing blow to the ball carrier there.
Just knocked the ball out, and yeah, that's no doubt that's a fumble. So, but now they don't get any more timeouts, which means I can still just run the clock out. We got under a minute to go.
Big-time play.
The Patriots will start this
Hopefully they
drive from midfield.
don't stop the clock if I get a first down.
Smith gets the call on first down and heads left. Tackled, and the clock will continue to run.
That's what I want. Just let it tick on down.
Second and
Wow,
5.
those are nice stats. Way to carry the ball.
And I still pick up the first down.
6 on the play, and the clock will continue to run.
Matt White used every ounce of his big self to do some key blocking on that last play.
And I'll have time to be able to run one more play thereabouts.
Smith will get the carry on first down,
And that'll do it. So time runs out, and we have defeated the New York Football Jets 38-3, and that, everybody, is ESPN NFL Football, also known as NFL 2K4 for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox from 2003. Now, let's get the usual particulars out of the way really quick. Is this a good game? Absolutely. It's not hard to learn. The presentation, again, I think is outstanding for a game of this type. It's easy to follow. Understanding and running the plays is not difficult if you've played a football game. Even if you haven't played one in a long time, this one, I think, is really easy to pick up and learn. It's definitely one that I'm going to want to play again. Not for this channel, but it's one I'm going to keep in mind and think, okay, I'm going to go back and whenever I'm in the mood, pick it up and do it some more. Is it as good as the Madden games of the era? Absolutely. Say what you will about Madden and where it is now, but back from 2000 to about 2010, Madden was still churning out really high-quality games with a lot of really good features and really good presentation. This is right up there. I can understand why the Metacritic score on this is still as high as it is more than 20 years later. So if you're looking for a football game of this era that you want to try and you're fed up with what games are like nowadays, absolutely pick this one up and take a look at it. Again, I'm playing this on PCSX2 emulator. It's a free emulator, or if you're able to find it on eBay, find an older copy, and you have a PS2 or you have the means to play it that way, pick up a copy of it. There's certainly worse sports games out there, and I've shown you quite a few of them at this stage, but on the whole, I would say that this is one that is in my top 5 sports games I've played so far in this series. So if you've enjoyed this, and I do hope you have, best way you can show it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. Thank you for everybody who has watched or now completed playthrough of the original Diablo for PS1. Also remember to vote on our poll question that we have on the community page here on the YouTube channel. Do you want to see me finally lose my Soulsborne cherry and take on the original Dark Souls? Yes or no? Cast your votes. We will hopefully have an answer on that in the next couple of weeks. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Threads at Ronan's Retrocade. Spread the word about us. That way we can hit our goal of 100 subscribers, and we can unlock YouTube's customization algorithm. We can make this channel bigger and better. Again, thanks to everybody who has subscribed to the channel in the last couple of weeks. I'm seeing the numbers go up. Your patronage is, as always, most appreciated. And if there is a game you would like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on Threads or Instagram. It could be any game from those consoles you want. And my name is Ron. It's been great to spend this Sports Saturday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. Stay cool out there. Still hot in a lot of different parts of the world right now. And we will talk to you tomorrow for our Sunday wrap-up of Sucker Punch Sunday. Bye.